Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to inspire a world where food makes us better. Guys, you didn't hear from me yesterday because it was July 23rd and it was my 33rd birthday. So I'm 33. And yesterday I moved to Moscow. Not sure for how long and where I'm gonna go next, but for the next 10 days, we are in Moscow. And yesterday, for my birthday, I went on this mini cruise along Moscow River and I also walked a lot. The weather was beautiful. Moscow is kind of like really, not ordinary right now. Because of coronavirus and everything that is happening, it's empty. It's summer, in the middle of summer, but it's empty. And Red Square has never been that empty. Like you could actually walk and really feel the emptiness, the this really wide open space, and all the monuments you could really enjoy them, because it's not like usual summer where you see like thousands of people, Chinese and otherwise. Like there were really few people taking pictures, walking. So that was kind of really surreal and just made me realize what time we're living in. So why am I in Moscow for my birthday? Why did I move from my hometown where I've been staying with my parents? I was staying with my parents. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna go back there for now, but I just felt like on my birthday, I needed to think the next steps, like what it is now meaningful to me in my life, what I want to work on, what I want to build. And for the first time in my life, I think I'm actually gonna read to you a post from my Instagram that I made yesterday. So the first time in my life, I feel I got my priorities right. I know what's important in my life, what brings me true fulfillment. Health, people, relationships, meaningful work, energy I bring into every moment. They're not in order, rather in a circle of my life. Areas that are worth my time, energy, attention, and consistent work. A few days ago, I thought to myself, if I value these areas of my life above all, why don't I start optimizing for them? Why have I been chasing some superficial goals till now? At the end of my day, every day, what makes me truly happy are things like meaningful, kind, and loving interactions with people I value, love, and admire. Vitality and drive I feel. Service I'm able to bring into this world, hopefully making it better for someone. Laughs, smiles, random acts of kindness, simple things I manage to notice and appreciate. So why not, for a change, start intentionally work on expanding this? Instead of often sacrificing them to pursue something artificially created in my head or by success norms of our society. As the song goes, I might just get it. So this post you can see on my Instagram. I also got, of course, a lot of comments and, wishes from people that I haven't heard from for 10 years. Funny how our social media lives are right now, right? So yeah, sometimes you gotta realize what is truly meaningful to you and then start building more of that in your life. And for me, it never was about some success or public appreciation or being famous or having a lot of money. Now, it's nice to have money to travel to, live in beautiful, luxurious locations, but those comforts and luxuries, material luxuries, they don't make us happy. Like they make us comfortable, They make us joyful and satisfied at the moment, but they don't bring true fulfillment, at least to my life. And so why I've been chasing this for so many years and, many days, I don't know. So now I'm 33 years old and I'm like, why for a change not to optimize my life for things that are actually important and fulfilling to me, like health, my, people, family, friends, community that I truly value, relationships that I build, deep relationship that, building friendships and building deeper connections in your family. So it feels like, that community of people where you are cared for, where you can trust people, you can rely on people. Why not, invest all my energy into meaningful work, whether that brings a lot of money or doesn't? And energy into every single moment, into every single interaction, whether I'm rushing or not, being more kind to people, bringing more gratitude, appreciation, smiles, loves into each and every moment, more optimism, more positivity. It's all proactive. We have in life what we create more of. And more than we realize, in life, more things depend on how we show up, not what comes to us, right? In every situation, in every interaction with other human beings, we can see a bigger picture. We can be more compassionate. We can understand that other people might have bad days or bad moods or, something happening to them that is negative, that is bringing them down. We can be more kind, empathetic, and present. And instead of rushing somewhere, being present for this moment, bringing kindness, empathy, positivity, optimism, seeing bigger picture, seeing brighter side of the street, right? And that's what I'm going to be working on as long as I can, as much as I can. I'm not going to be perfect. Probably nobody will ever, but that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to try to be more present and try to get better at it every single day. And why also I'm here in Moscow? Because sometimes, guys, at least in my life, it's the case. You got to take yourself out of your familiar environment, relationships, things that ground you or pull you towards the familiar things. You got to get away from all of this, not necessarily to just, go somewhere else and change the scenery, but without all the familiar distractions and things that make you think of the same stuff that you've been doing for a while. Instead of that, so you could think of something new, where you actually want to go next. Allow yourself to just float, to just be without any intention or any goals, without familiar environments that make you think about the old familiar things. So without all of that, just let yourself be and let your inner voice whisper to you, like, what you actually want to do next. Like, what do you feel is meaningful to you right now? People, relationships, work, and being outside of your familiar environment just helps with that. It helps you to think new thoughts. It helps your new ideas to rise, to surface themselves. Believe me, guys, that works. Environment matters. And that's why I'm also in Moscow. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be staying here or going somewhere else, for my work or just because I want to go there. But I felt like I needed to get out of my familiar environment. It doesn't matter, how loving, nourishing, or comfortable it is. I just needed to get away and think outside of that familiar environment. And speaking about environment, guys, I'm renting an apartment, Airbnb, in this green eco part of Moscow with amazing park and Moscow River just a few minutes away from me where I walk. This morning, I went out there. I went for a walk in the park, and then I went all the way to the Moscow River. And there was this beautiful path in the park. It was early morning, not even 6 a.m., and there was no one. It was refreshing. It was, the breeze was so cool, and it was after the rain. It was green, rainy and wet and fresh, and it was beautiful. And I was walking along this path. It was wide, trees everywhere, and it was quiet. Nobody was there except me. And it made me want to run, to be more active, to do sports. Also, I found this spot with outdoor exercise machines, and those made me want to do crunches and pull-ups and some other stuff, just to explore what I could do with that stuff. And it made me realize that environment in our lives, it's really crucial to support who we are becoming, who we want to become. And the cool part about it is we can design it. So this park, whenever I travel somewhere, I always try to find an apartment by the park where I could walk, run, or do something active. It also helps me to think with clear head without all the noise of the cities and very often crowds of people. So it made me realize how environment is important. I'm in this park and I'm walking along this path, and it makes me want to run. I see these machines and they make me want to exercise. Now, then there was a long staircase to the river, down to the river, and it made me want to run. And on my way back, it made me want to climb the stairs and sprint and exercise. And so I didn't plan any of that, to run up and down the stairs and to do sprints or to do leg raises, crunches, and pull-ups. But I did that because the environment was there, and it made me think of exercise, of running, of crunches, of running up and down the stairs. And it made it really clear to me that environment is really huge for self-creation, for self-actualization, for building our next level self. If you live, by the park like this, where you can exercise, and on the environment tells you, okay, this is an amazing place to exercise, you probably will exercise and move more. If you live by fresh food market, where you can always see these fresh herbs, vegetables, fruit, and then you bring them home because they're so colorful and vibrant and like those aromas of fresh fruit and vegetables, you bring them home, you're probably going to cook them and eat them more. You're probably not going to be eating junk or drinking if you live in a place surrounded by parks and nature and fruit and vegetables. And if you see people running and cycling and rollerblading, instead of seeing some bars where people drink and stay up late night, and then in the morning you see drunks, not people exercising. The environment is huge, guys. So if you want to develop some part of yourself, like for me also, I want to develop myself as a change maker, leader, speaker, entrepreneur. So probably my next place will be a place not just with green surroundings, but also with people who want to change something, who care about something, who care about the world they're in and want to improve that. So if I want to build that part of myself, I want to put myself in the environment that helps me to create that. And so if you are trying to change your exercise habits, your lifestyle habits, your eating habits, that you want to put yourself in the environment surrounded by, parks, stairs, exercise machines, whip machines, people who run, who cycle, fresh food markets. You don't want to be in a place surrounded by skyscrapers with a lot of bars where people drink, stay up late, or in a place with a lot of drunks. Like if you have, and most of us do have this ability, especially when we are, in our early 30s, maybe you don't have your family, but even if you do have your family, there are so many things that you can change to create the environment that will help you to build better habits. And this is, guys, again, this is huge. And And also people are huge, guys. If you're living with someone who is always eating healthy, who's cooking healthy food, who does exercise on a regular basis, you're gonna think about that more often. When I was staying with my parents, I absolutely loved this fact that every morning there was a line in our living room to exercise, because we have big screen TV there, and you can put some exercise to watch, to do the workout. But there are also dumbbells and feed balls, and so we actually had to schedule it with each other when in the morning everybody is gonna exercise. So I absolutely love that. And of course, when you wake up and you see somebody's already exercising, you think about that, and you also think, or maybe I should do that too. And I absolutely love this, fact back home, that we had like a schedule. First, I go exercise, then my mom, then my father. We wake up at different times. I'm like the earliest bird, and then my mom, and then my father. And so we have a schedule in the morning who exercises next in the living room. And if you live with people, your roommates or your family, maybe you start cultivating those habits, and then maybe you're gonna influence the people around you too. If you want to be a great example to your family, to your kids, to anyone around you, you probably should leave that example. And then, people are going to be inspired by you, and then you're going to be inspired back. So this is a beautiful thing, environment that, again, this environment that you create around you, surroundings, people, it will help you to cultivate better aspects of self, much better than any diet or exercise program. Believe me, guys, environment, that what will really make a difference when it comes to building your better self, your next level self. And that's it, I think, for today. My birthday, environment, just sharing my life and what I'm learning every single day. We are all in a journey, and I absolutely love learning from my own life experience, different aspects of living. Anyhow, guys, as to conclude this episode, I want to also share with you some answers that questions and answers that I worked on over the past couple of days. These ones are from Quora website, where I often answer questions, and it also helps me to learn from other people, from folks like you, like what you care about, because I'm in this nutrition, exercise field, health, and it all seems obvious to me. But then I go to social media, to different websites, I talk to people to learn what actually you care about, and what don't know, being outside of this industry, having this industry is not as your professional thing you do, or your career. So anyhow, let's get to questions and answers. The first one, there are going to be 3. Why are people avoiding whole grains when the evidence points towards whole grains being anti-inflammatory? And my answer was, there is evidence for probably everything these days, and this, guys, is true. If there is some evidence stating that grains are anti-inflammatory, that doesn't mean that they are, and it works the same for all people with different digestive systems, health issues, allergies, sensitivities, etc. Many people do very poorly on grains, gluten grains or not. I myself personally can tolerate only some rice in small amounts. Most other grains are pro-inflammatory for my gut. And in almost every case of eating grains, I have a slight fever. So basically, guys, what happens for me personally, almost every time I eat some grains, I have slight fever and I feel low in energy, and it usually starts a whole chain reaction of me not eating that well, and also having anxieties and negative thoughts. So that's why I know that grains do not work for me. And as I mentioned in this answer, there is evidence to support almost anything, because different things work for different people. And If grains work for you, then go ahead and eat them, but that doesn't mean that they work for a lot of people. Actually, there are a lot of people who have got issues when eating grains. Why exactly? I'm not sure, but that's the reality. So again, if grains work for you, then keep eating them. If they don't, then do something else. And people ask me also regarding these or similar questions, like, how do you know whether food works for you or it doesn't? What you usually would do is elimination diet. So you eliminate this food for 3-4 weeks, the longer the better, and don't change other things. And then you reintroduce this food for 2-3 days, and again, change nothing else but that, and see how you feel, how your energy shifts, your thinking, your mood, everything, your performance, if you exercise actively. And that's how you know whether this food makes you feel better or worse. So that's what I did with grains and dairy and so many other foods. That's why I know so well what works for my body and what doesn't. The next one, what diet out there has the highest success rate? And this is, guys, really easy. The diet that you personally can stick with long term. So again, the question was, what diet out there has the highest success rate? Actually, most of the diets, well-balanced diet, they work, whether that Mediterranean or whether that pescatarian or basically seafood with a lot of vegetables, or keto or paleo. Most of well-balanced, healthy diets work and have high success rate, and none of them is the best. The main difference that's gonna make it a success for you personally is it gotta be the diet that you mentally and physically can stick with long term, that doesn't produce a lot of suffering or inconvenience, or you starve yourself and you're hungry all the time. Like, the diet that is going to be the most successful for you is the one that you can stick with long term, that will produce results. The diet that improves your health at the same time, if weight loss is an issue, allows you to stay in a calorie deficit without thinking too much about it, or starving or stressing about that diet will be your most successful diet. And that also will change most probably over the course of your life. So I used to love keto, but then it stopped working for me, and now sometimes I'm plant-based, sometimes I'm keto, but I'm eating whole foods. I'm making sure that I'm eating all the nutrition that my body needs. I'm making sure that I feel the best every single day, that I support it with my lifestyle choices. And I'm feeling amazing. And the diet that I'm on right now, it has no name. I just make sure that what I eat is whole, is healthy, and supports my nutrition and energy and needs, and again, that I absolutely love. So, and it helped me to lose, I think it's like 4 or 5 kilos for the past months, when I switched from keto to eating more carbohydrates from whole foods. Anyhow, so the diet I'm on right now, it's not entirely plant-based, it's nothing, but it's whole foods. It satisfies all my nutrition needs, and I feel amazing, and I have a lot of energy, and I don't feel like I'm starving myself, even though on most days I'm in calorie deficit. I'm just eating a lot of fiber-rich foods. And so sometimes one diet will work for you, sometimes the other one, and you just want to make sure that it improves your health. And if you are trying to lose weight, this diet should help you to be in a caloric deficit without, again, thinking too much about it or stressing or being hungry all the time. The last, what are some easiest ketogenic diets beginners can try? What are some easiest ketogenic diets beginners can try? So when you want to go on a keto diet or similar to keto diet with very low carbohydrate content, that's what people usually mean when they talk about ketogenic diets. It's some low carb or similar diet. So you want to focus on non-starchy vegetables. You want to focus on fattier animal products like eggs, like fatty fish, organ meats like liver, fattier cuts of meat and poultry. So make sure that you get enough fat for energy. By the way, guys, the links to these questions you will find in the show notes, and you can read about the details, some links, following those links in the show notes. Anyhow, guys, so trying to go on a low carb diet or keto diet, you want to focus on eating non-starchy vegetables. The list is in the show notes. Fattier animal products, not lean cuts, but fattier. And other fatty foods like nuts and seeds, olives, avocados, full fat dairy if you do eat dairy. And a simple day of eating might look something like spinach plus tomatoes. Oh, guys, sorry. You want to focus on, well, I've already said what you want to focus on. So simple day of eating breakfast, spinach, tomato, avocado omelette. This is just an example. You want to focus on whole foods, guys, not eating a bunch of fats and nut butters and fat bombs, but whole foods with higher fat content and lower carbohydrate content. So breakfast, spinach, tomato, avocado omelette, for example, maybe more onions, herbs, and spices. For lunch, fatty fish, 4-6 ounces, cooked veggies, a lot of them from non-starchy vegetable list. Maybe fresh salad, so cooked vegetables or salad, maybe, addition of some of those fatty foods like nuts and seeds, avocados, olives. And then for dinner, you might have chicken liver or beef or pork or poultry, and then more cooked veggies or salads from non-starchy vegetable list. And then extras to each meal, you can add some nuts and seeds, avocados, olives, maybe some dark chocolate, maybe some cheese, maybe virgin coconut and olive oil as cooking oils, or real butter and ghee. The most important thing, guys, is again to focus on whole, nutritionally dense foods like non-starchy vegetables, fattier animal products, fatty foods of the best quality you can find, organic matters, all, that matters. And then you want to add additionally some whole foods, fattier foods like avocados, olives, nuts, and seeds, some cooking olive oils like coconut or olive oil. And then you just want to make sure, if you're trying to lose weight, that you are eating not as much as you want, but you're still watching what you're eating and how much, so you still are in a caloric deficit at the end of the day. And that's the simple way to be on a keto or low carb diet. Again, the link to this question you can find in the show notes. But again, you just want to focus on basically 3 things: eating a lot of non-starchy vegetables, eating fattier animal and plant products, and also satisfying your nutrition needs. And if weight loss is something you're working on, also making sure that you are tracking your weight loss and you're still watching your portions. So that's it for today, guys. Enough of me talking about so many different topics. Re-listen to this episode if you found anything especially interesting. If you have any questions, you'd like to share something or to ask my opinion about something, feel free to reach out on any social media you can find me on. Check out the links to the questions in the show notes about keto diet, grains, and the most successful diet. So all of that in the show notes. Don't forget to share this episode with someone who you'd like to discuss the topics we talked about today. Together we learn better. Together we change easier. Together we can do everything much, much better, and it's easier and it's more fun. So share this episode with one another person, talk about it, learn, try something new. And as usual, guys, thank you for tuning in. Have an awesome weekend. And till next time, eat better daily.